We are gonna watch one of the weirdest videos I've seen on tattooing in a long time. It's on this news station, they're from Australia, so buckle up. A lot of things to talk about.
Now, what is it with people and tattoos these days? I wrote a column for news.com.au during the week complaining about people covering their entire bodies in tats, and should have seen my inbox. I mean, at the risk of sounding like an old man, and I know some of you accuse me of it sometimes, I don't get what compels people like Blink 182 drummer Travis Barker, who was in town recently. It's all over his body and his head as well, which is covered there by
So I think that that's a pretty fair question. What compels people to get hands, necks, face tattooed? Okay, fair, I get it. But why do they expect to understand? If they're not people who have a full body of tattoos, what makes them think they would ever understand why people do it, why we do it? But that's not a big deal. Let's keep going.
Post Malone, the rapper next to him, faces covered in tattoos. Don't even get me started on Machine Gun Kelly. I mean, he looks like he's preparing his body to do a minstrel show or something. I mean,
that's cultural appropriation.
Do I think it's cultural appropriation? Absolutely not. I think a guy getting a tattoo that happens to be black is not like, it'd be one thing. It'd be one thing. I maybe tolerate the type of idea of like he wants to be black if he was doing his whole face and then he wore a perm or something like that. But to be like, oh, it's cultural appropriation. No, it's not. It's a tattoo. He's not trying to be a black person because he blacked out his arms. Second of all, this term, cultural appropriation, I don't really respect that term. I don't think that there's anything wrong with people exploring different cultures. I just don't. I just hate that term. People are doing stuff all day long to change their appearance, and you might associate the changes they're making with a different culture, and that doesn't mean it's cultural appropriation. You know, if a dark person wants to bleach their asshole, it does not mean that they want to be a white person. It just means they bleach their asshole.
Am I out of touch here, Joe? I just don't get why you...
Yes, you're out of touch. You don't get it. I don't understand a lot of things. It doesn't mean it's wrong, which in a lot of ways this clip wants you to think that it's wrong just because they don't understand it, which is weird.
Get why you'd want to do that. When you're 75 and your skin's gone papery and wrinkly,
and it looks like
are you really going to look at...
The weird thing about this clip is that they keep throwing old tropes into today's world, and it makes, it just sounds silly. These people aren't that old. They're like in their 30s and 40s. I'm in my 30s. People haven't felt this way about tattoos for a long time, so it feels forced to me. I'm gonna take a wild guess. If this is a news station in today's world, their audience is between 55 and 86. And to me, it sounds like they're pandering to their audience who happens to be an older generation. What are you gonna think when you're in their 70s? Dude, no one thinks anything about their body in their 70s. You're old. Who gives a shit? Your balls are sagging to your knees. Your titties are hanging under your belt. Your throat looks like a turkey. No one looks good in their 70s. It's okay. It's part of life. It's a beautiful thing. So if you happen to have a couple tattoos on your arm, who cares? You're gonna regret that in your 70s. No, you're not. You're in your 70s. No one in their 70s is regretting anything they did except for not hanging out with their family, working too much, and being a general piece of shit. That's what you regret, not your tattoos.
In the mirror and go, geez, this looks good.
Well, this is what I don't understand, that like the whole point of tattoos was that only sailors and ex-cons had them. And so it made you kind of like cool and like street, and you're like, oh yeah, he's bad news.
That is not the point of tattoos. The point of tattoos was to get tattooed. It's an interesting conversation that they're having, and I find it so goofy that these very normal people are not understanding why people get tattooed. And instead of just being like, I don't understand it, but it's fine, they're going, I don't understand it, and I don't like it.
No, the kind of guy that daddy didn't want you to go on the motorcycle with. And now, of course, everyone's got them, like, and just got them all over. It's like, it's just, I feel like, I don't feel cool, that's for sure. But I feel like, oh, now I'm the odd one out for not having one. So I just don't understand what the point of doing something kind of edgy is if everybody's doing it.
It's like the neck tattoo, right? Once upon a time, you saw a guy with a neck tattoo and you're like, ooh, that guy's bad news. Now you think, ooh, I'm going to get a good latte.
That was the only thing that genuinely made me laugh. The way he presented it, beautiful, funny. He doesn't say anything else other than that. I like this guy. Everything I'm saying is about the other batch of douchebags, but he is fine. I like him.
Good for it.
Nice.
I used to hang around, well, I say that like I was a criminal. I used to hang around the courts because I was a court reporter for a while. And
We have very different life
when you see someone walk into the magistrate's court, as I often did, Evelyn, with a facial tattoo, you're like, okay, we got a good one here. And I wrote that in the column. I said, I see a facial tattoo. It makes me think you're off to court. You should have seen the messages I was getting from people.
This is what I'm picking up from this video. And I'm maybe reading into something that's not there. If that's the case, forgive me. But I definitely feel like these people, especially the way that they're talking about like criminals and like these other lower class people, like, oh, he makes me a good life. I feel this like classist, elitist bullshit coming from these people. Like, this is a conversation that a couple old people have while they're on their yacht sipping champagne. I do. I feel like they're like, oh, look at these lower people. And it's just like one of those things that I can't help but feel that coming from these people. Like the people that they brought up, the conversations they're having, it feels so entitled. Like, look at how good we are and all these other young people getting their face tattoos. It's like, dude, that's the beautiful thing about tattooing. It's for the people. It's always been for the people. It's always been like a low-class art. And that's why we love it so much. This is for us. It's for the people. And that doesn't mean you have to be broke to like tattooing. Watching this clip, I just feel like these snobbish, dorky-ass people are being like, oh, those peasants with their tattoos. I don't know. That's what I feel. Maybe you feel that same way.
I'm not a criminal just because I've got tattoos. Well, you look like one.
It's because tats are a code in a lot of gangs and they do actually mean significant things. But, you know, jokes aside, I think the reason why...
I think that that's like a really valid thing to bring up. Let's talk about it. Yeah, criminals have been getting tattooed forever. Criminals are still going to continue getting tattooed forever. So is it cool because criminals are getting it, or is it not cool because criminals are getting it? You know, I know that there's 5 people on a panel and they're all going to have their different opinions, but man, are they just throwing random shit at a wall, seeing what sticks, and then they run with it. They're like, they have 2 different things. One saying, it used to be tough, now it's not tough. Now one's saying this is only for criminals. These fucking people, dude.
People are getting tattoos, and the reason why people are doing this is because we're strapped for purpose. We don't have a purpose. Kids are being raised not knowing what to do with their life, and it's all about identity. They don't know their identity, so they're just striving and trying to do something, and it's really sad. You know, we're made in the likeness of God, and I think that we were made beautiful, and we should have our faces clean.
So we should be getting tattoos of Jesus.
10 seconds.
I think people should be in the likeness of God. So therefore, Botox, lips injections, makeup, all this shit. See how simple that is? See how I could criticize anyone for anything? I don't believe that. Do whatever you want. Be whoever you want. Get whatever you want put into your face. I'm okay with it. But it is funny how someone can be like, likeness of God, and then be like, I criticize this, but I do this. No, I'm not saying for sure. I don't know. But I'm gonna guess someone in the television news industry probably getting stuff done, getting work done. And I find it weird that in some ways it's okay to change your body, but in other ways it's not. By the way, Christians have been getting tattoos for thousands of years. It might not be popular in Western culture, but if you go to the Middle East, if you go to Jerusalem, there's families that have been tattooing for thousands of years. And it's a way in certain places of representing exactly who you are and what you believe in and the religion you have.
We get to the break, Liz. Are you going to get a tramp stamp? What do you reckon?
Never! I'm a clean skin. And I find tattoos really try hard for the very reason that the rest of us are detailed. It used to be hardcore.
I think, you know, pandering to an audience that's in senior homes, it's try hard too. But that's just me. No matter where you are in the world, criminals and hardcore people are still getting tattooed. Now, so are some young frat boys. It's all good. Who cares? What does any of it have to do with anything? What it does have to do with is them saying that they're better than other people because they don't have tattoos. That's how I feel about it. And you're not gonna find me talking on this channel about why I think I'm better because I have tattoos in comparison to someone who doesn't. I would never say that. I don't like the division of news stations. I think this is one of the rare times they talk about tattooing, and it is just silly. Silly, dividing bullshit that the news has always done and has been doing and has become more obvious about in the last few years. If you like this video, subscribe. I'll see you in a few days.